welcome back. Another episode of Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie. I might as well say Shock Treatment TV, an episode of that, because we'll be doing that big with this. We got a nice guest with us today. Killing it, killing it. You know what I mean? Killing it. You know what I mean? Mad Mel, how you doing over there?
I'm doing. It's just funny you keep saying it when I have Pennywise surrounding me in the back.
I know he's creeping around that corner. We gotta teeter him out, get him in there a little more.
There you go, just for you.
We're gonna do a big haul of. Well, there's been talks of the show moving into a big studio, a big Boombastic media studio. We'll see how that goes. That could be the future.
Big things for the new year.
I like big things.
I'm excited about the fact that the ban has been lifted for travel between Rhode Island and Massachusetts.
I like big things, and I cannot lie. The other brothers can't deny. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When opportunity walks in with that, I forget the lyric.
You must whip it.
Whip it. Whip it good. Now we're going to a different song. So, but today, did you want to talk about anything before we brought the guest in, or you want to just kind of kick it into gear?
I said we just kick it into gear.
We'll kick it into gear. That sounds good with me. I'm always a fan. So without further ado, folks out there that have been getting down with that thing called the Basket Case franchise, of course. Not just being Basket Case. I've been called the Basket Case many a time in my day. I know Mad Mel probably heard
Definitely has.
Mad Mel puts it on her taxes or her occupation basket case.
It's for real.
We got nothing but love for her. Nothing but love for you, baby. But yeah, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Dwayne Bradley, your boy from Basket Case. Kevin Van Hentenryck is joining us in the building. So without any further ado, we'll bring him on into the situation.
Uh-oh, I sense trouble.
Hey.
Now, is he going to get upset that we're not talking to him too at the moment?
We'll talk to him as well.
He'll have to mask up too.
I need that mask. I need a nice Basket Case mask.
That would be awesome.
I dig it.
Add it to the collection.
I didn't jump on the that mask bandwagon. If I knew we were in it for a long haul like this, I would have been. But I got the medical mask. I wish I had a nice, more stylized mask.
Oh, when it was Halloween and we still were going for it, I was buying every single one that I could get my hands on that was horror related at Spirit of Halloween.
Yeah, we got a flea market by us that's good for that stuff.
But the Basket Case one we need.
We need a mask for the show. Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin, how are you over there?
I'm good. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Very, very well. Despite the cold.
Yes. Well, how's it up there? You getting some snow right now, or?
Yeah. We're having a really cool storm. Just as it's getting dark, apparently there was a red sunset above the clouds, and so we have this dark gray, reddish color in the snow for about 10 minutes. Really cool.
That is cool.
Right, I would have been outside trying to take pictures of it and try and make it look as good as it looks like looking at it in person.
Yeah, we were. It's hard. It's hard to do. Where are you guys all located? Where's everybody typing?
I'm in Rhode Island, and Maddie's in Massachusetts right now.
Yeah.
Where? So are you both getting the snow now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad here. We maybe an inch when all said and done we'll have here. It's just really cold.
We were getting it pretty heavy over here. When I came in, about 45 minutes ago, it was more than an inch, I'd say we had, and it's sticking too, which is the worst part. It wasn't melting or anything.
Up here in the mountains, they're saying 3 to 6 inches tonight.
Woo! Well, that's the beauty of the mountains, right?
The elevation adds to everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should be thankful because they said if the path had gone the way they had anticipated to go, this would have been a blizzard and not, you know, a couple of inches here and there, depending on location. So I guess we have that going for us right now.
Yep, yep.
Hell yeah. So, you know, let's pop into a nice interview, huh?
Absolutely.
Have we all came
So
for an
excited.
interview? Very nice. So, Kevin, like, where did the whole love for like acting? Did you do acting in high school, or how far
Oh
back
yeah,
do you remember?
yeah, yeah. I started in high school. There was a girl in my history class, Cindy.
Yeah.
I overheard her talking to the teacher. The teacher asked her how the play was going. So I figured, well, I'll get in a play and I can get to know Cindy. Well, the next play, which I auditioned for, I got the part, but the one previous that I had heard the discussion about was Cindy's last play. So
Oh,
that never quite worked out.
That's it's a tortured artist thing, you know what I mean? It's one of those deals.
At least.
When did like when so you kind of did you was it strictly to like impress a girl type deal, or you had to have had a little bit of you know, when did
Well,
it catch you, if you didn't in the beginning, when did it catch you?
almost immediately.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of being able to take on another character appealed to me. I was good at it. I had fun at it, you know, because I was in that era, I was shy to the point of mental retardation. So it was a way out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that we talk about that often. It's like, because we make films too and do the shows, it's like you like I grew up very shy. Like I was very quiet and I just kind of took everything in. But like when you start to do these endeavors, it's like you realize that you have to kind of break out of that mold, and you gotta be more outspoken and be able to, you know, talk with people and stuff like that and do the whole deal to kind of do what you want to do, you know, as
Yep.
well as be a good human, I guess, too, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting, you know. We often see ourselves doing those things. So
There's an interesting parallel though I think in my 11th grade, I did the lead in Death Takes a Holiday, and my uncle, whose name was Whitfield Connor, had done the same part in Death Takes a Holiday, I don't know, 40 years earlier or something.
I like that. I like the return, keeping it in the family. That's what I like.
I felt it was a sign.
It is.
right?
It's fate.
Definitely.
I pulled up to the gas station today, and the person before me, 666, was the amount of gas they got. I tried not to take that as a sign. So if it goes, if this is my last interview with folks, that's what happened.
You're going out with a bang.
That's what happened.
You
So,
made it here from the gas station though, right?
oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, this is all in the bathroom. This is the gas station bathroom, actually. They got it going pretty good.
Nice gas station.
You like that?
Yeah.
It's an expensive thing. So like, when did you? I think you did in 1974 was the jump into film from theater. How did the jump from like theater into film?
Well, in 74, I moved to New York City to study at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. In 75, I met Ilsa. Ilsa plays the social worker in the film with the glasses.
Yeah.
And she knew Frank. And she said, I know this guy that makes films. You should meet him. So I said, okay. So I went and met him. He put me in 3 like extra parts in Slash of the Knife, which was the film just prior to Basket Case.
Yeah.
And I guess he liked the way I worked, and I was always on his case to use student actors. You know, you'll get better results, and we need the help. You know, so a few months later, he called me up and went through the whole story of Basket Case. He like performed the whole film on the phone to me. He said, "What do you think? Are you interested?" And I said, "Yep." That was it.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
Yeah, Frank's such an interesting dude, and his body of work's great. I love all his movies. You know what I mean? When was there anything eccentric or very interesting about him when you first met him, or was he just kind of a very normal guy?
No, he's not your typical guy.
Yeah,
Um, his apartment, the long wall in the apartment is full, floor to ceiling, length to length, too deep of films and videos.
yeah,
And one of the things that was most remarkable about this, when we were filming, when we would run into a difficulty or a problem, we'd be standing around. Well, why don't we do this? He said, no, they did that in such and
yeah.
such a film. Oh, okay. So I know we do that. Oh no, they did that in such. He's like a walking encyclopedia of the genre.
Yeah.
So that's where he gets that from. That
The Rain Man of horror. That's awesome.
exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Him and QT, him and QT, yeah. I love that. You know, I always the filmmaker. Whenever I meet a filmmaker and you go and talk about movies with them, and they don't really know a lot about movies or like have a lot of, can reference them. I always think that's kind of weird. So when I see those filmmakers, Joe Dante's also like that. Tarantino, like we said, a lot of them, Del Toro, they live it. They really live it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
I think Frank even owned Something Weird or had a heavy hand in Something Weird video for a while.
Yep. He did.
And
Yep.
they had to have been. You have to give them complete credit for like the life that Herschel Gordon Lewis has right now, because like his entire career has really been resurfaced through Something Weird. We're able to see that. You know what I mean?
Yep. Frank was always a Herschel Gordon Lewis fan
Yeah.
from when I first met him.
Oh yeah. There's all Frank's movies drip. The drip influence from Herschel Gordon Lewis, which is great. You know what I mean? Basket Case in itself, the original is it's very Herschel Gordon Lewis to the key, even like the characters and such, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
thank you. Thank you.
Very great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Were you a big fan of Herschel Gordon Lewis as well?
I was not until I met Frank.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of interesting cross connections in Basket Case. For example, Dino is the man in the pink bathrobe in the second floor of the Hotel Broslin.
Yeah.
We run back and forth by him a lot. He was working at the American Academy then. He's now the artistic director, I believe, of the American Academy. And Ruth Newman, who plays our aunt, was the registrar of the American Academy.
Yeah.
So we got as many people that and in the scene where Beverly knocks on my door to warn me about Joe, you see a guy in a cloth cap go by in the hallway outside.
Yeah.
That's Bruce Torbay, the CD.
That's cool. I love that pays the respects. It's like, that they've gone on to like still acquire this like respect in it. It's funny because like with the horror, it's like some people might not will give it a hard time, but it's like you can't deny these cult classic films. You know what I mean? You can't deny how much an audience loves these films, even if they're not your cup of tea, which we love them. But you know what I mean? So it's funny, you'll hear, it's cool to see people come from that and like go to this big, teaching at schools and stuff like that and being, high respectable positions. And it's funny where it all started. You'll have that with like a Peter Jackson, even Sam Raimi, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Evil Dead movies, Bad Taste, and they went on to do, Spider-Man movies, Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
all art, we know whether you're talking about film, dance, painting, sculpture, all art, if it has guts, if it has some truth and fire to it, then it'll work.
Yeah.
That's the real trick.
Yeah. Well, since we're speaking of art, I know you also do rock carving, right?
And photography, I saw as well too.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Oh, wait.
I like it.
I love that.
Yes, I'm a sculptor. That was the other thing that happened around the same time when I met Elsa. A girlfriend of mine and I went up to the Little Carnegie Cinema, which I doubt it's still there, but it was right around the corner from the Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And it was an art house place. They showed old Fellini films and Ingmar Bergman and that. And the night we went, they were playing an old Ken Russell film called The Savage Messiah, which is about a sculptor, a real sculptor, Henri Gautier, who lived during the time of World War I. And in the course of that film, they showed a close-up of a real carver's hand working a block of marble. And I was so turned on to and by the idea of a rock as a plastic medium. That was pretty much it for me.
That's cool. So film kind of opened you up to your love of that. Interesting. It's all full circle.
And before Frank had offered me the part in Basket Case, I had already decided to switch my focus, my primary focus, to stone carving. But it was too good of a part to pass on.
Yeah, yeah. For anybody listening, you would express your opinion of how important doing these creative artistic things are just in life, especially now during like crazy COVID madness times.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about they call the creative process making special. And according to the academics, we've been doing this as long as we have been a species. So there has to be an evolutionary advantage to it. I'm not an academic and it's not my field of study, but a lot of people think, well, art's, it's a luxury or it's a way to get out of real work. I tell you what, you swing a 2-pound hammer all afternoon, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So art is not a luxury, is my point. Art is in fact the best way to heal from addictions, from PTSD, from childhood traumas. They are discovering that like I don't know if you have kids, but if you try, when my kids were little, you know, if I'd ask them how their day was, fine.
Yeah.
Well, what did you do? Work.
Nothing.
You know, they're not going to talk to you about what's on their mind, but you set them down with crayons or clay or paints, and suddenly it all comes right out. And we're just now as a species discovering that art is the way to bridge that gap between a trauma, for example, and healing. So it's really all arts, and I'm talking about all arts: music, dance, painting, whatever you're into. It's not a luxury.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic. You know what I mean? Like you said, with getting over things, you'll notice we talk about, you know, this, you can create something from nothing, and even if you yourself feel maybe empty or like you're not of no worth, you can create something beautiful in front of you that, you know, might pick yourself up type deal. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. You know, and to go into the artistic thing of music, I always like bringing this up too. Music's so powerful. I know you're a big fan of music. They say music's one of those weird things, like it's magic, because like you can't see it or you can't feel it. I mean, you can physically feel it, but you take it in, and like it does, you know, makes everybody feel, you know, different things, you know what I mean?
Because no matter what type of mood you're in, there's something that you're gonna find that'll suit that mood. So
and no matter what type of music you prefer.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone has had the experience of being young and having an issue, or the girl doesn't like you, or, you know, the teacher's on your case or whatever, and that song comes on the radio and you just feel better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a powerful tool. Realistically, you know, you could play a Benny Hinn. That's the dude, right? The Benny Hill. Benny Hinn. That's the religious guy. Benny Hill, like the you know, the little theme, and you might get a smile on your face, get the memory. You could play a sad song that reminds you of heartbreak, and it makes you cry. You know what I mean? It's a very, very powerful thing. You know.
Yeah. If I'm not feeling centered or grounded, I pick up my old Gratz and bang on that for a while, and I feel much better.
Yeah, for sure. It's that creating thing. It's that you know, the positivity of it. You know, that creative energy. It's nice.
Yeah,
Let's pop back into the Basket Case film. When that movie first came out, how was that received?
Oh, it wasn't doing well at all.
Yeah.
We were tanking, in fact. And Frank knew Joe Bob Briggs. And he wanted to show Basket Case on his drive-in movie show.
Yeah.
Frank said, well, it's cut, and he wouldn't show the cut version. So Frank sneaked him an uncut version. And people really liked it. So what happened is the distributor of the film at that time started, with no fanfare, just very quietly switching the cut versions for the uncut versions. And all of a sudden it took off. So thank you, Joe Bob.
Yeah, Joe Bob is a good man. We interviewed him for a doc. We were part of the B documentary too. All through me, Kevin, Joe Bob, we're all part of that. Yeah, Joe Bob is he's a lot of people, helped out a lot of people. It's good to see him kind of get that show needed to come back. People love that show,
Yeah.
He crashes the internet with every time he starts a new season of it.
Yeah.
And he's another one that's like a walking encyclopedia of the genre.
Yeah, for sure. The did it have I know that it, as it started to pick up, you were starting to get noticed more and such. Was it one of those things, or because this was your first big starring thing that you were the star of, that was gathering steam? You know what I mean? What was that like, being a part of a film that was starting to gather momentum and into what it was about to become?
It took a long time for it to get that up to speed. For example, when the second film was playing at about a dozen theaters in Manhattan during the day, I was calling up agents trying to get an agent. And, you get the standard, send us your picture and resume. If we can use it, we'll call you. So yeah, it was a long road. But again, if what you're doing, it has some truth to it, has some fire and guts, it resonates with people. And we stumbled upon an archetype, because everyone feels like the weird outsider.
Yeah.
And also, we all of us carry around that dark half that we try to keep hidden because people won't like it, or people might not like us if we let it out. So we've kind of stumbled on an archetype that most people can identify and understand.
I agree. It's beloved. Frank's in the vibe of the Basket Case films, I think it kind of helps, solidify. When people bring up body horror, they always like to bring up, David Cronenberg. But I say you got to bring up Frank Henenlotter if you're going to talk about body horror. You have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so going into the part two, the film's kind of got a little more comedic. You know what I mean? Is that a direction that you were cool with going, or did you want to go a little more serious? Or you just happy to be a part of the show? How was that?
I suppose had I been writing it, I would have taken it in a different direction. But I trust Frank completely.
Yeah.
He's kind of a genius, and I got to work with Annie Ross, which was amazing, and Gabe, of course, again, on both 2 and 3, Gabe Bartalos. I wouldn't pass that up for the world.
Well, I remember you just rewatched 2 and 3.
No, that was I can't. I hate to even say that they weren't even rewatches for me. It was the first time I watched both of those. I'd seen the original Basket Case numerous times because that was one of those movies I watched way too young. Because that was when that first came out. I watched that like when it first came out on VHS. Anyways, I think I watched that movie with my parents, so I grew up watching that, and I don't know why I never watched the sequels until like this week, because they're absolutely hysterical, but at the same token, they're creepy because the way the characters are, it's just like, wow, what the hell was he thinking? How did these creatures come about? You know, just the work on each character is just so out there. It's like, wow. And it just so amazingly and beautifully done. Like I think I watched part 3 last night. So that one's really fresh in my mind.
Gabe and Frank are nuts. You know, the second film, they filmed Frankenhooker and Basket Case 2 back to back.
Yeah.
So they not only had to produce all of the freaks for our film, but they had to produce all of the effects for Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
These guys are nuts to even entertain an idea like that.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, if somebody came out with that, you'd be wondering what drugs they're on to come up with, you know, those creations, just because they are so out there. And I'm looking at them and I'm laughing and I'm like, well, I shouldn't be laughing because they're supposed to be kind of scary, but you can't help but laugh at the monstrosities that they are.
They're on super crack. That answer your question. They're on super crack.
Yeah.
All the lack of sleep from filming 2 movies at once, you know.
It's true.
Put some good ideas in there.
You know, you and Patty Mullen should have like a podcast. That'd be cool.
That would be fun. Yeah.
You guys have met, I'm sure, right? Doing the convention deal.
Yeah. The last time was I think at the New Jersey Horror Con, I believe.
Yeah. When did do you remember when your first convention was, or when you first got into it?
Oh man, the first one was a Fangoria. Tony Timpone brought me out to LA to do one out there. And I was supposed to play music.
Yeah.
And like 2 days before I was to leave, I was working on a carving in Spanish cedar, and I sliced open this finger. And I'm sorry, Tony, but I sounded like shit that weekend. I did not play well.
And do you remember what year that was? Because that Weekend of Horrors was one of the first ones, I think. And
that con, I got to sit next to the guy who played the pilot in the original version of The Thing.
Okay.
I'm not remembering his name now, but short redheaded guy. He was the pilot.
Yeah.
And so we spent the weekend, you know, bullshitting and stuff. And at one point, this guy in an entourage comes up with still cameras and a video camera, and he says, I bought this in a church yard sale for $5. I wonder if you'd take a look at it. He says, yeah, sure. So he pulls out of this plastic bag this kind of puke green jacket, vaguely military looking. And in it, it says the name of the studio and Arness Wardrobe 6B or whatever. And he verified it. That was part of the costume, the wardrobe for The Thing, for the original version. And he found this in a yard sale or a church bazaar or something somewhere in California.
It's crazy where that stuff winds up, you know.
Yeah, that would be something that I'd end up kicking myself for getting rid of now.
Yep.
Well, we had a friend of ours on the show, Chris McGibbon. He was telling us about all, you know, when he was in California, they had all those storage lockers for all those like that, like a little smaller but bigger independent releases.
Mhm.
He was working on like a Night of the Demons doc, so it was like all Night of the Demons stuff, and he's like, he had to throw it all away, and I was like horrified to hear that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, what? You throw it away? Because I guess it's like a write-off, like the company, I don't know what the deal is with it, but it's like some type of write-off thing where you can't give it away, you got to throw it away type deal. Yeah,
That's
something
terrible.
like that. Very sad. I'm sure things didn't. I'm sure some things didn't
walked away.
Reach the trash. Yeah, I'm sure. I doubt everything got thrown out, but supposedly I think everything's supposed to go into the dumpster, which is crazy.
That's very sad to hear.
Yeah, think of all the crazy things. I believe. Did Archie Bunker's chair end up in the trash, or did that go into like the Smithsonian? Because when What's crazy is like those huge shows when they cancel those shows and the next day they just clear the set, throw it in the dumpster, and a new show comes in. You'd probably cry if you found out about legendary set dressing and props from shows that you grew up with just went in the trash. Horrified.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't have to worry about Basket Case ever going anywhere because it's part of the permanent collection in the Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that come about?
They were doing the primary exhibit is about the East Village in that era. And one theater in particular, or a club 57 maybe. I'm afraid I can't remember the exact name, but
yeah.
And Frank used to hang out there. So they contacted him, and the rest is history, as you say. We all went down to that. They did a state-of-the-art restoration. Frank was ecstatic about it because the guy that was doing the film portion of the restoration called him up and said, in this one scene, there's a hair, you could see it flickering on the edge for a moment. Do you want us to remove it? And Frank said, no, that's in the original negative. And the guy loved that, the fact that he wanted to leave it.
Yeah.
And they were able to lighten it up so it looks much better, so it's the way it was intended to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those little imperfections, if you will, are kind of, that creates the vibe of it. Like a lot of people
Well, it was shot on 16.
Yeah.
Blown up to 35.
Yeah, and the Blu-ray always looks incredible. You know what I mean? There's been multiple releases of it by now, steel books and box sets of it. But that was one of those. Yeah, that was one of those movies I knew was shot on like a 16 millimeter grain film. But like same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe that was also shot on 16, blown up into 35. And I'm like, but when you watch it on Blu-ray, when they did the transfer, it looks so good because it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The technology is very good now.
Yeah.
They had I remember the camera, they had a special eyepiece which showed where the lines where the frame would be. And they did special lighting tricks to highlight certain things to help with the blow up. Yeah. I'm not a tech guy, so.
Yeah. I know you were a Michigan guy up until the New York move. You ever run into the old Ramey brothers over there in Michigan town?
No, I didn't. Though Steven Spielberg grew up one town away from me.
Really? I always thought he was a straight LA guy from the get-go for some reason.
No. Oak Park, Michigan.
He was made with celluloid film and all types of yeah. You get the clowns, ICP, they're from Michigan too. They get a fun crossover, the Juggalo world. We get a lot of Juggalos that like our show. It's fun because you'll meet people in the horror community. Some people completely despise and hate their guts, and some people like them. And it's fun because they're really just horror movies and music. Are you familiar with Insane Clown Posse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fun deal. Yeah, they used to come to Rock and Shock and stuff. Yeah, which was
and
good.
Beverly Bonner, who played Casey in our film, is also from Michigan.
Okay. Did you know beforehand or no?
No.
How was the community? And well, I guess there really was no community if you were moving out to New York, right? At the time.
Yeah. New York was pretty weird in the mid 70s. It was the bottom of an economic trough. So people had been leaving New York in droves. The East Village was a lot of junkies. And so it was an interesting but fun time to be there. New Wave was just starting. This is pre-punk. There was a great music scene,
Yeah.
So it was a fun time to be there. And we made our own community.
Of course.
To film Basket Case, we spent almost a year filming it because there was no money, and as a stage actor, that was one of my favorite aspects about it, because Frank would say, we only have enough film for one take, so we're going to rehearse the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And we stage actors like that. That's how we work best.
Yeah.
So, and we built sets in Uji's loft, and we would just, sometimes there, like if we didn't have enough money for lunch for the crew, we'd just shoot in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody pitched in. For the example, when B's on top of the girl and the camera's going back and forth, that's me pulling focus because the crew freaked out about that scene. So Frank said, all right, that's it. Nobody's in here. He sent them all away. And it was just Edgar, Frank, her, and me.
Yeah.
So we did everything,
Yeah.
So it helps you get to learn a little bit more about what's going on in each scene, and it gives you more experience other than just the acting portion as well.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's fun to watch, somebody who knows what they're doing. I love watching people who know what they're doing and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's no money for special effects. So how do you get B to leap out of the basket at the camera?
Springs.
Go cut out the bottom and push it forward.
This is the genius of Frank Hentenryck. So we start off, you take an A-frame ladder, you hang the camera upside down from the ladder. We start B at the finish position, run him into the basket, slam the lid down, flop the film, and run it backwards.
Yeah.
That's Frank.
Hell yeah. Very effective. Yeah, he's raised.
It was film,
Yeah, raised on film.
Yeah.
Frank, was he
I'm sorry, go.
Was Frank a film school guy, Or is he self-taught just from the films? Watching.
I think he's probably self-taught. I've never asked him that though, but I'm pretty sure he's self-taught. He learned filmmaking in Times Square, 42nd Street.
Yeah.
Watching these films.
Yeah, I love it. I went there when I went to New York last time. The first time in the lab, we always kind of get dropped off on Canal Street up by the, but it's like it's completely changed. That's one of those things I wish I could go back in time and just kind of go spend a Saturday night, Friday night or something out there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got some of it on film, the old Times Square. That was a weird shoot too. We were threatened by store owners. Yeah, they didn't want us filming them.
Did you guys do that guerrilla style, or did you try and pull permits?
Yeah. No. That and Statue of Liberty were purely unauthorized.
I like it. Good. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, so when you were shooting in a rough area like that, you guys have to keep like extra security, so to speak, people around to watch equipment and stuff to make sure people just didn't go walking off with it.
Well, we didn't have a lot of equipment. Like nowadays, even a TV show has 12 trucks full of stuff, For us, it was Edgar's van, But at one point, Frank was toying with the idea of making the Hotel Broslin at an actual hotel that was right kitty corner from Madison Square Garden. And we had, these guys were coming up to us, give me $50, I won't steal your cables.
I believe that. Yeah.
That didn't quite work out.
Yeah. I expected a lot of that. Yeah. I'll be quiet. One of those things. If you want us to stop yelling, you got to give us.
Yeah.
They
get to be extras or stage hands, just so your equipment doesn't go missing.
They want that money. They want the money. They don't care about that extra stuff.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying that's the way they're rationalizing this. You guys get to keep your stuff, and we're not gonna hawk it to go buy a burger or a bottle across the street.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
Rather the burger. Support the burger over the bottle. Poor guys out there. So how was it? We do, like I said, with the films, it's so different now with the release. When you're talking about how you know, he got that uncut version slid into the theatrical. What you were saying, the rotation, like we don't know, you know, the even in theatrical now is completely different. It's all digital even then. You know, were you able to see? I know it was mainly kind of the producers and Frank and them probably doing all that behind the scenes, sending it off. But like, do you remember anything about that time and era of sending out reels to drive-ins and theaters? To
No, I wasn't involved in the post at all.
yeah,
Um, I do remember that during production, filming, like we would do 2 or 3 scenes and then run out of money. So Frank would do a rough assemblage of what we had so far and show it to people and get a little bit more money,
yeah,
shoot another scene or two, and then repeat the whole
Repeat the
process.
process.
yeah.
That's pretty much how we made the film.
Is that why there was so much time between the first one and the second one? The financial
No,
aspect?
Frank said for years he wouldn't do a second one. He was getting offers like, well, there's a fourth doctor or a third twin, and he just wasn't interested. And he was pitching Frankenhooker. I believe this is how this played out. He was pitching Frankenhooker to Jim Glickenhaus. And as I said, when Frank pitches a film, he performs the whole film, all the parts, camera moves, effects, everything. And by the time he finished the pitch for Frankenhooker, he was exhausted. And Jim said, "That's great. What else have you got?" And he just couldn't help himself. He blurted out Basket Case 2. And he said, "All right, we'll do it." And that was how it happened.
Yeah, he seen that money flowing. He said, "Oh man, I get the money. All right."
Yeah, because there was only a year between the second, like a year between the second and the third one. So
Yes. So how did the third one come about then? If the deal was originally for like a Frankenhooker Basket Case 2, how did the third one come into the mix?
Yeah, that one I'm not that familiar with how the third one played out. That's a Frank question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm with you. Today is the birthday of our good pal James Balsamo, which I know everybody here has worked with. You know what I mean? The great Jimmy B. Where'd you meet Jimmy on the convention circuit? That guy does more conventions than convention owners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did. I met him in Kansas City, I think, at Chaz's Con. I'm blanking out on the name of it though. Crypticon.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Crypticon. Chaz DeMoss, a really cool show, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're in that area, you should check it out. The year I was there, Forsythe was there. William Forsythe was there. He's a really cool guy.
yeah, he's a really nice guy. Yeah, I've met him.
And James was there doing his thing, of course.
Yeah, James is a good guy. We've known.
So happy birthday, James.
That's right. We've known James for many moons, going way back some. You must love the conventions, right?
I enjoy them because I only do a handful every year. I don't do a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because I want it to remain fun.
Yeah.
So, I try to pick and choose. And I had been lined up to do Shock Stock, is another really great show in Ontario, I think, or London. Just when COVID broke out, or just before that.
Yeah.
So as soon as this is over, that'll probably be the next one.
Yeah, I'm hoping they all come back in a big way. You know what I mean?
Oh, they will. They will.
I think so.
I mean, there are some conventions that are still going on. I see like Felissa Rose and other people posting pictures from the conventions that they're on. I'm kind of still nervous about going to one, but I mean, I guess if you practice like the whole mask thing, and I don't understand the whole social distancing thing. I don't see how that is working out.
That kind of kills the convention.
Yeah, because you're always clustered. Like you can't usually move depending on what convention you're at.
Chiller. Last time I was at Chiller, it was wall to wall.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're gigantic. Like, when we were talking about what was the Weekend of Horrors? Was it the Fangoria?
Yeah, yep. In New
You know,
Jersey,
like
that's coming up.
I wish I was when cons first started and it was only like a handful. I wish I could have went to them because, like you were saying, the guy from the original thing was there. You know, like I always see pictures of like Lucio Fulci at like, you know what I mean, like in New Jersey signing autographs, and it's like, wow, like it would have been crazy to have been able to met him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But we have our greats now that we get to meet, which we're fortunate enough to meet them. It's crazy. I often wish that when I was younger, I could have, you know, I hear these stories of these kids that are like 5 or 6 years old and their parents travel all over the country taking them to these conventions. And it was like, oh, that would have been so sweet. Sweet
Yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't win them all, I guess. You know what I mean? Can't win them all.
Hopefully that'll our first convention this year will be at least local convention will be TerraCon if it happens.
Do you remember the first time you realized that Basket Case and you, sir, are a very appreciated person within the community?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You know, I live in the mountaintop region of the Catskill Mountains, and I was in a little tiny store in Prattsville, New York, and somebody recognized me, and that's when I realized, wow, this is starting to roll over a little, you know, because I don't get recognized up here all that often.
Yeah.
Up here, they know me as a crazy stone carver guy, not an actor. Yeah.
So do you prefer city living or do you prefer the country life?
You know, living in Lower Manhattan was always a love-hate thing. I don't think anybody really likes it. You love it and you hate various aspects of it. I love living in the country up here. For one thing, you know, I can leave my keys in my truck and it'll still be there tomorrow. You know?
And not on bricks or completely gone?
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the sculpture is an industrial process. And my last studio in New York was in Tribeca, um, which in those days was an abandoned, derelict neighborhood.
Yeah, I heard they cleaned it up heavily. Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, excuse me. But I knew it wasn't going to last. At that time, people were just discovering Soho, and we could tell by the furor that Soho was causing that Tribeca was next. And you know, to have an industrial space in the city now, you have to be rich.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, that space in Tribeca, for example, um, my landlord told the people above me they were looking for a nice, quiet place. Right? He said, "Oh yeah, it's going to be nice and quiet." I told them that I was going to rehearse my band there and that I was a stone carver, which means jackhammer and noise.
Yeah.
Dust. So, you know, I mean, conflict of interest
Yeah.
right from the get-go. I mean, they were fairly cool about it, the rest of the tenants in the building, but I was considered the crazy sculptor guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I have a studio up here now, by the way.
That's right.
If you're interested in seeing some of my work, go to my website, kevinvanh.com.
Yeah.
Do you have any of your work on display in any of the museums in New York?
Museums, no. I'm in a sculpture garden in New Paltz called Unison. I have a piece there. I've been in a few of the biennials in Kingston. I've shown a lot regionally.
Yeah.
Art is a tough sell. You know?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Kingston's a big artsy area. I used to know. I still know him. Like a country rapper comedian named Insane Shane McCain. Have you ever heard that name?
No.
All right,
No.
yeah, he does like a country rap comedy type deal, and he's from Kingston. I remember that. I went up there, I shot some stuff with him once. He's a good guy.
Yeah. And Woodstock,
Woodstock,
is
of course, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I know that Woodstock has a big film festival up there. I
Yeah,
think their
that's
own
worth
deal.
checking out if you ever have a chance.
Yeah, I seen promo for it, but I either just missed it or wasn't going to be there when they had it type deal when I was there.
We couple of years ago there, we William Fichtner did a film called Cold Brook, I think,
Mm,
and it was really good. And
yeah.
he was there talking about the film and stories about making it and stuff. And he's one of my favorite actors. So it was interesting to see.
Yeah, those film festivals are cool. One of the when me and Nick first talked, I said with B Doc, my whole thing with the documentaries, which is cool about them, is like we're from like Massachusetts, where you're not going to be able to see anybody kind of cool. You know what I mean? So we get to venture out and such. I think he got your interview in Connecticut. I think where you guys. I think he got you. Yeah, I think where he got your CT Horror Fest, maybe.
Oh yeah,
I
I did
think.
that.
I think
That's a
that was
one
it.
day show, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a really good show too, by the way.
Yeah, that was fun. We are gonna try and get up there and do that one. You know, more recently, like right before COVID hit, type deal. COVID really killed a lot of stuff. It's so crazy. So this
Yeah.
madness. It ain't done. Its killing spree isn't done, unfortunately. Um, yeah,
I'm
but
surprised people aren't making more films about COVID and
the
about
COVID.
this moment.
th- there's a weird the movie that's called Songbird or something like that that got made. It was like made before COVID times, but it's about COVID, so people were like all conspiracy theorying about it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Mann, I think, made it. So it's like a big Hollywood film type deal.
Wow.
Yeah, it
And
was a
then and
weird
then you
thing.
got and then you got the opposite end of the spectrum where you have Full Moon put out the COVID zombies movie.
Full Moons. Full Moon is they're really reaching for that one. I seen that like as soon as COVID broke, they're like, we're making a COVID zombie movie.
Yep.
It's like give it
I
time. Give it time.
they like I think it was like 30 days in and that movie came out and then you watch it and it's like, yeah, you probably should have waited a little longer.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's the thing with it. It's like what happened is I think they had a zombie movie already in the like half done, and they just added a few scenes to it. But it was like they're exploitative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those deals. It's like at the end of the day, it is a tragedy. You know what I mean? And whether whoever whether you believe whatever you believe. Because there's different sides of it. People think COVID's fake. People think it's real. People are dying. So you got to have a little respect for that at the end of the day. I feel a little respect at the end of
Yeah.
I
the day.
mean, it was just so out there. I literally watched it like I didn't even watch the whole movie. I watched maybe 20 minutes of it and the majority of it was like these two big-breasted blondes and a phone conversation between
Yeah.
the two of them and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's enough of this," and shut it off.
Oh, you catch
Well,
COVID like herpes. Yeah.
there's that really good film with Dustin Hoffman about I think is that Outbreak?
Outbreak.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's the one with Kate Winslet. Can't remember the name of that one either, but both of them are really good films and really
Is it Contagion maybe?
yeah, maybe
Newer, yeah.
frighteningly prophetic. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot if you actually pay attention when you're going through a lot of these horror movies or just movies in general. If people actually were to sit and read the description that they put, you would realize there's a lot more out there that are so suiting to right now that it's ridiculous.
Cycles. Everything kind of comes in
Yep.
cycles. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
It's like one of those things with like the Simpsons predicting.
That's funny. I always
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How is like the country life? Has that made it a little more bearable to deal with like the craziness of everything that's been
Oh
COVID?
yeah. We're very fortunate here because my only interaction with other humans is once a week we go to the store. Once every week or two, I gas up my old truck. And other than that, I'm at the department, at the office, or I'm at the studio. So I'm kind of already sequestered and isolated to begin with. So I feel very lucky in that respect. Um, So yeah, I love it up here.
Yeah, like one of those are you in one of those situations where your like nearest neighbor is like a mile down the road? Because like I would love that if that was the case here.
Not quite a mile, but yeah, the studio is very remote.
Yeah.
And we had a flood. That's about a month ago now. And so the bridge over the Westkill Creek is out again. And so you can't even drive on the main road by the studio. You have to go up over Beach Ridge. So the traffic now by the studio is almost non-existent because the bridge is out. It's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, I'd hate to live in the city during this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to socially distance. Like, you know, I've been trying, I avoid it until like literally the last possible second of like going to like Walmart to grab stuff,
Yeah.
because there's no social distancing in Walmart. People really just don't care. And like, no, they don't wear the masks properly if they're even wearing one, you know, because now you've got people saying, oh, I have a health condition. And, you know, you don't want to doubt them.
It's called COVID. Yeah, I got a health condition called COVID.
Yeah, like I don't trust anybody. Like, I mean, I didn't trust people before, but now I like trust them even less because
a mask is not
there you go.
a political
There it is.
statement.
Hey, that's a double-sided. Is that double-sided or is that two different ones?
No, this is a different one. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Now, can we buy those masks, and do they come in like a 2-pack? Because I'm gonna need both of those.
You know, my daughter sent me these, and I couldn't answer that question. I don't know where she found them. It was a Christmas present for my youngest daughter, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's awesome.
What does your kids think of Basket Case? It's always a fun dynamic when you know the kids get to see what their parents did and the fun, wild, crazy movies that people love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know, they've grown up with their old man being slightly crazy, so it's kind of normal for them. Um, if you go on the website, one of my sculptures is it's the Jill McCrudden Memorial, and it's a 6.5-ton block of bluestone that's a rearing horse, and Jill on the horse in her wedding dress. And they grew up with this huge block of stone in the studio and watched it go from a big lump to the sculpture that you can see now. So for them, it's normal.
Yeah.
That dad is just crazy and does all this weird stuff. In fact, when I think it was the Arrow re-release, but I'm not sure of that. Frank wanted to do a little skit like, and I think he called it Basket Case 3.5.
Yeah.
And my daughters are in that, carrying a basket.
Yeah. That's
Have you ever taken them? Have they ever experienced like a convention weekend with you? Were they ever a part of that?
My oldest daughter has been to a con. Excuse me. I don't think my youngest has, but they both joined us at MoMA for the debut of the newly remastered film. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's
Now,
hard.
do you have grandkids that are gonna be brought up on Basket Case yet?
Not yet. Not yet. You never know, though. You never know how things will play out.
Yep, exactly.
I was wondering what was the longest you've ever worked on a sculpture? You can almost consider a kid a sculpture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The longest duration project was the Rip Van Winkle, which is at Hunter Mountain, which is a local ski area here. That was 14 years. And the reason it was 14 years is initially it was supposed to be 5 or maybe 6 years. And in the beginning, when we started in 95, the festival season at Hunter was 40 some days. And the idea was we carved only they had these music festivals, Irish music, Celtic music, country music, you know, German Oompa bands. And the idea was that the festival goers could not only see the progress on the piece, but could watch us carving. We only carved during the festivals. The problem was is that as soon as we began in 95, they started cutting down the festivals, so that by the time we finished in '09, the festival season was down to like 12 days. And you don't get a hell of a lot done in stone carving in 12 days.
Yeah.
So that really stretched out the process.
What was the longest you've ever worked on a carving and then like at the absolutely worst time broke like a piece that couldn't be fixed? You know what I mean?
Well, that is one of the frequently asked questions. What happens if you make a mistake? And my smart ass answer is there's no mistakes. It's executive design change.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah, because yeah, like that. 14 years, and that's
You know, like
dedication.
for example, a good carpenter isn't someone who never makes a mistake. They
Yeah,
just know how to deal with it. You know.
yeah, straight out. Yeah.
And if you do anything long enough, you start to figure it out after a while.
Yeah.
And you begin to understand what you can attempt and what you probably shouldn't attempt.
Yeah.
So
Where
that
do you
that
where do
helps.
you where do you draw most of your inspiration from when you're creating your sculptures?
Oh, all over songs. I did one piece that was inspired by a perfume ad in a magazine. You know, it depends. When most of my work, especially my most recent work, I'm trying to put over a concept, and the idea is it's like a film. It's very much like a film. You want a static piece of stone that doesn't move and can't be changed to tell a story. And how do you do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, my inspiration comes from all over, from nature, from other humans, from advertising, all over.
Hell yeah.
Are you gonna end up being one of those creepy old guys that you see in a park carving chess pieces or while they're
I love it.
I certainly hope so.
have you ever done that, like created like or now maybe you have the idea to create like maybe like a chess set of little carvings of the characters from Basket Case?
Ah, there you go. Yeah, that would be fun. That's a fun idea. You should patent that for sure. Somebody
Fucking stolen. Yeah.
I'm giving him the idea. I'm giving you the idea because who better to put that kind of a product out than the person that was actually in the film.
Well, thank you.
That would actually that'd be a dope conversation piece to have in your house, especially like with all the crazy characters and the third one.
Yeah.
You've got more than enough characters there to probably make a nice chess set from.
That's a good idea, actually.
See? I know what type of box it can come in.
Right?
No, that's for sure, yeah.
It'll come in a little wicker basket. That'd be awesome.
Has there ever been talks of a Basket Case 4?
I've been working on script for a fourth film.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I would like to do another one. Because remember now, 11 of the baby Belials survived that night at the sheriff's.
Yeah, I like that.
And they would be in their early 20s now.
I like that. It's a very tough time. Very tough time.
And you see, Dwayne and his brother have survived this craziness and escaped to a mountain town, a far away from everything mountain town, only to discover that they've landed in a place that is just about to explode with craziness on its own.
I like that.
I'm in. Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Thank you.
Frank doesn't do it, I will do it. I'll put my hat in the race. That'd be cool. Frank would be a part of it though. I feel like he's one of those dudes at this point it'd be very difficult to make a basket case film without Frank. And
Well, if I can ever get it
yeah,
produced, Frank would play one of the major parts in the film.
of course. Yeah, that'd be great. We don't see enough from Frank. I remember, are you familiar with a rapper named R.A. the Rugged Man?
Yep.
I shot a show for R.A. We're gonna get him on the show soon. He's a good dude. I know Frank did his Bloodshed Hua music video way back in the day.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Ray? Through Frank or R.A.? I mean,
I don't know that I've ever met him. I know of him
Yeah.
through Frank, from that time. I don't know that I have met him, in fact.
yeah, he's very within. He's a big horror fan, and yeah, R.A.'s good people. Yeah, I'd love to see a new Basket Case movie. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
I think it's time.
I think it's time too.
We gotta, introduce these millennials or whatever you want to call them, that think that these PG horror movies are the best things out there. Show them what horror movies are supposed to be like.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe this break could be good for that, where people be so hungry for, films when they come back that, like, if filmmakers were to approach, because money is kind of a big deal with everything, getting these films made. So maybe like a crowdfunding, like if the community like ever worked as one to fully get behind and crowdfund, like they could, like the horror community, if they really wanted to and join together, the community could fund the next Basket Case movie, could fund the next movie from whatever franchise that they love. They just would have to organize to do it, but they could do it. It'd be interesting.
I think so. I agree.
Would you want it? Would you want it now? Would you want it to stay more towards like the practical, like that practical effects, or would you want to jump more on the CG bandwagon to modernize it?
As little CGI as possible. We'd have to have Gabe involved in a lot of practical effects. Yeah. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to play Belial. In the past, Belial has been these little rubber things.
Yeah.
Which work to a point, but I want to make Belial a real character now.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that a lot. If a Pokemon can evolutionize, why not Belial?
It's true.
Don't mind me. It's been a long day, so like just crazy random thoughts pop into my mind at the weirdest times.
Oh, breaths.
You're crazy, Mel. You're mad, Mel. That's why.
Yeah, like I said, I get the weirdest ideas at the weirdest times. So
got to start writing them down.
That's true.
Yeah, I know, right? And it always seems to be while we're doing a show that I come up with the craziest stuff.
That's good because we're recording and now it's documented.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Kevin will be able to go back and be like, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a chessboard. If you decide to do that, I want one.
That's right. That's all she requests.
Yeah, that's all I request. You can have the idea. I just want a chessboard when they go into after they come out of production.
Well, yeah, we will certainly give you credit for the concept.
Fair enough.
Works for me. I'm not trying to get rich. I really don't care at this point in the game. Now it's just
money.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but money doesn't always buy happiness. So
what's money in the world of sickness? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right now I kind of wish I was where Kevin is, in the woods somewhere, far away from everybody.
We want cameos in Basket Case 4.
Yes.
It happens.
That's a definite. I don't care if you have to, if it's prosthetics galore, to be one of the creatures that you come up with.
And people will fly. I think the fans love it enough that it could get done. It could get some financial backing from the fans, I think, as well as the support of showing up of like Trauma. Trauma's very, fan orientated with their machine, where they do, they'll have fans show up and work for free and sleep on the floor and eat cheese sandwiches to make their films. There's no reason why I think that other filmmakers, I think, don't want their fans doing that. Where Trauma, we love Trauma. But Troma don't mind their fans getting dirty to make their movies too, I guess. I don't know. But I think everybody would get dirty to see some Basket Case 4.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, with that, Mel, do you have anything else you want to ask?
Unfortunately, at the moment, I can't possibly think of anything, but I would definitely love to keep this idea of Basket Case 4 going.
Yeah.
I kind of want to pose that as a question on the show page and, see what kind of responses we get.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep it going. Do you want to, is there anywhere, I know you got the website, do you want to just rattle off a few things where people can find you or go look at your sculptures, your art, any movies you want them to grab?
Social media.
Yeah.
Well, I am on Facebook. There are 2 Facebook pages with my name. One of them I do not have control over thanks to the ineptitude of Facebook. But the other one is me. It's really me. And the other way to get a hold of me is my website, www.kevinvanh.com. And you can see some of my work on there. And I try to keep Facebook up to date with what's going on. I also do a free stone carving class every year normally. This year would have been our 13th season for that. And that takes place up here on the mountaintop in the town of Hunter. It's called the Hunter Stone Carving Seminar. And it's free and open to everyone. Hopefully, we will be back in gear this summer with actual classes. We will have a website for the class shortly. And thank you guys so much for having me on your show.
Thank you so
much. It's our honor to have a walking legend amongst us.
Hell yeah. You hear that? Yeah, you hear that? Yeah.
I don't want to get killed in my sleep. I got to keep the guy in the basket happy.
You get clawed up. True.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
He's mellowed out in older age. You know what I mean?
He's enjoyed being on the show, though.
Well, we appreciate having him.
I mean, if he wants to make a quick appearance, we wouldn't have a problem with that either.
He's sleeping. He's sleeping.
But thank you.
He's camera shy.
He has the COVID. He's getting rest right now. We'll put him in. We'll add. In the description. We'll say he was with us here in spirit.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bilal wasn't able to social distance and is in quarantine now.
There you go.
All right, folks. We'll catch y'all on the next episode of Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie.